It's the last time I try to showboat at the end. Everyone's friends, it is time. You know what time it is. It is time to hug it out. Because the Bruins have won in 5-3 against the Florida Panthers. Welcome back to Into the Den, everybody. I'm your host, 100Bex, and this was a really, really interesting game. First of all, this was like the first, I considered this the Bruins litmus test. Going into this game, I considered it the Bruins litmus test. If this, yeah, we're 2-0, but but look at our opponents. A completely washed Washington Capitals team and an Arizona Coyotes team that is balls deep in a rebuild. If we can beat the fucking Florida Panthers, who just won the President's Trophy, we can do anything. What I didn't know going into this game is that Florida was down so many defensemen that they did not have enough to fill their roster. They were playing with 5 defensemen. And what I didn't know until like 10 minutes before puck drop is that Jake DeBrusk is back. Jim Montgomery said that his upper body injury would take him about put him back in the roster within 10 days. Well, I mean, it is within 10 days, so you kind of gotta give him credit for that. But the Bruins are off to honestly a real, even with our first two opponents being rather cakewalks. This is honestly a historically good start to the season that the Bruins are having. And it's the first time in nearly a century of Boston Bruins hockey that the Bruins have started with 10 players in the first 2 games scoring a goal. The only one who scored more than 2 in this time is the only person who scored more than 2 in the over our first 2 games is third liner AJ Greer, which is just incredible to me. But this was also a kind of special game for 2 of the players on our roster. First of all, well, it is Jake DeBrusk's 26th birthday, so happy birthday to you, Jake. Jake, keep giving us great hockey, my guy. And but also, today's National Pasta Day, which means David Pastrnak, happy second birthday that you have, I guess. Yes. And continue to give us great hockey. We start out the game. Omar is in net against Sergei Bobrovsky, and right off the bat, just less than 30 seconds in the game, people haven't even people haven't even put their hats back on after the national anthem. Todd Angeli probably isn't even out of the tunnel yet. The Bruins have already scored because Jake DeBrusk just intercepts a back check in the neutral zone and just blasts into the goal. This entire game gave the best argument for Sasha Barkov to just give Jake DeBrusk his birth certificate, because holy crap, Jake DeBrusk absolutely owned Alexander Barkov, and it was honestly kind of play that you wouldn't expect from someone who won the Selke 2 seasons ago. Well, you wouldn't expect Barkov to be making mistakes like this, but ultimately, I mean, the Panthers still gave us a run for our money. I mean, we lost. We gave up 3 goals, so it's not like we just sat on our laurels and did nothing. to win. But even still, like being down onto 5 defensemen, and then having Aaron Ekblad go to the box for a few times, and also just completely getting knocked out of the game in the second period. The Panthers lost Aaron Ekblad for the 40th time in his fucking career, because oh my god, I love Aaron Ekblad. That dude cannot stay healthy. But Aaron Ekblad leaves the game in the second period. God bless it. God bless him. But the Panthers are now down to 4 defensemen. But this was honestly a little bit more of a puck handler's game. I feel like you wouldn't. I mean, when you get the Bruins versus either of the Tkachuk brothers, you would expect it to be a more gritty physical game, and there absolutely was that in this game. But in the first period specifically, it felt a lot more technical than just we end up taking 2 penalties, Lindholm going for interference, and then Coyle going for I forget what. But we end up taking on a 5-on-3 about halfway through the first period, and I have to say, Derek Forbort, fantastic on the penalty kill. I did not expect that dude to be as good on the penalty kill as he was, but it was just amazing. And for the entire first period, it was like, you ever watch one of those cartoons where the fight is just a giant dust cloud, and then someone tries to escape but gets grabbed by the car, like and it goes back and gets hauled back in by the big guy to get pummeled again. Yeah, that was basically the first period in terms of our play. We did a fantastic job of keeping the puck out of our zone, and just amazing jobs of just keeping play alive in their zone before the end of the period. And it was, and when the puck was in our zone, what was really uncharacteristic of the Bruins in terms of comparisons from this year to last year is we actually played amazing net front defense, really good net front defense. I feel there were like 1 or 2 opportunities that the Panthers had all game, and on one of them they scored, and we'll talk about that. But we didn't. But other than that, amazing net front defense from the Bruins. Anyway, the Bruins start the second period. On the power play with about 54 seconds left. I forget who on the Panthers took the penalty, but the Bruins nearly let up a shorthanded opportunity, and just let the Panthers just kill off the penalty. Completely, it's a little bit concerning for how our power play goes, because it definitely felt on this game that our power play was a little bit ineffective. But I mean, we gotta. I mean, it's something that we're gonna have to iron out later on the season. It's only game 3, but Matthew Tkachuk, but Sam Bennett ends up scoring because Matthew Tkachuk found the perfect passing lane. Like, I can't really even blame Omar for this, because I can only blame the defense for not getting in the way of the passing lane, and because Matthew Tkachuk just found a wide open passing lane, and like if the 405 was not full of traffic all the time, and that's about as wide as this passing lane was. Is like it was 6 cars wide, and just Sam Bennett was just right there, right in the crosshairs for that to tap it in, and it ties up the game. And definitely around this time, about halfway through the second period, it feels like the Bruins. It feels like the tide has kind of turned, where the Bruins can't really get it out of our zone now, and we're having a hard time getting it into theirs. Uh, but there was one point that was just like, what the hell is happening? Where Rudolph Balcers, by the way, amazing. I still love the fact that he was on. He was part of the line with quite possibly the funniest colloquial name ever, the "My Balls Hurt" line. In Timo Meyer, Rudolph Balcers, and Tomas Hertl. Oh, Meyer Balcers, Hertl, my balls hurt. Anyway, Rudolph Balcers ends up colliding with Tomas Nosa. It's definitely a rough hit for both sides, but like it feels, but like it looks really incidental. And after that, there's just a giant get together at the center, and Matthew Tkachuk is just so loving that he just wants to give everybody on the Bruins a nice throat hug with his arm, just headlocking everyone. I love him. I actually do kind of like Matthew Tkachuk, but not when he's headlocking my players. Somehow, after all of this, it's still a 5-on-5. And just to give you an explanation, just to give you just like a 100 a perfect showcase of how good Olmark was in this game, because for as good as the Bruins skaters were, Olmark was fantastic. He shut him out in the first period and played and just still played his ass off. He just played his ass off the entire night. Sam Reinhart, the Bruins kind of fuck up with clearing the puck in the out of their zone. And Sam Reinhart is behind everybody. He just takes it where the puck bounces off one of the Bruins, and Sam Reinhart just takes it from like the edge of the neutral zone and just has a breakaway right in front of him. And God bless you, Linus Ullmark. He saves it. God bless him. And pretty much off that, I can't remember if it was off that face-off or like one or two face-offs later, but Florida technically wins it. But Jake DeBrusk just off like a rocket, just beats two defenders to the puck in the far end of the neutral zone. Takes it to just about the Panthers' red line and passes it back to Bergeron, and who pots it far side to put the Bruins up 2-1, in which Bergeron ends up tying Rick Middleton in for third all time for Bruins goals at 402. Fantastic. And Dan Renouf, who's in for Brandon Carlo to be our sixth defenseman. And speaking of which, Dan Renouf had an okay game tonight. I don't necessarily think that he's gonna be like starting caliber, but like he's not bad. I would put him in as like someone you want if you want your defense to produce offense. And I don't know. He seems like someone that can shift between third pair defenseman and fourth line and forward pretty easily. But Dan Renouf almost slips the wraparound into the net. And at this point, Aaron Ekblad has left the game. God bless Aaron Ekblad, but hope you get better. Last 5 minutes of the second period happened. Neither team really does too much. They sort of just like trade chances in either team's zone. Not really anything. The third period starts, and it starts pretty much the same way as the first period starts, except Sergei Bobrovsky is there to stop it. Is there to be the moderator. DeBrusk nearly one-times a pass from Bergeron. Like Bergeron's going up the sidelines, he passes it to the middle where DeBrusk is, and DeBrusk almost just almost just taps it in. But Bobrovsky is there to be the number just there to be the number one cop on the force, and he stops it. After a Gustav Forsling interference penalty, the Bruins get several good opportunities both before and after this penalty. The Panthers end up killing it, but just a little bit afterwards, David Pastrnak. Oh my God! Happy International Pasta Day, my guy! Just completely undressing 16th season in the league, Mark Stahl. Oh, just through the legs, and around him. And he's still losing balance, but he manages to poke the puck right past Sergei Bobrovsky to put the Bruins up 4-1, to put the Bruins up 3-1, and less than 2 minutes later, Trent Frederick gets gifted a beautiful wraparound goal. I forget who was the one who passed it to him, but he gets a beautiful wraparound goal, and it hits Bobrovsky off the end into the net, which mean hey, cops fuck up a lot, a lot. That's beside the point. We're not going to talk about cops tonight. And we're feeling good. We're doing good. Less than a minute later, Anton Forsling just fires from the blue line, and it bounces off. It bounces just a little bit off Tomáš Nosek, but it's just enough to where Ullmark loses track of the puck between 2 or 3 other people skating by, and it goes right through him, and it goes right past him to put the to shorten the lead to 2. Oh, we go into the 4F150 Final 5. Oh my God, I can't tell if I'm gonna love or hate that phrase, but so far I am liking it quite a bit. This is sort of when Pastrnak takes a penalty. I forget what it was, but he takes a penalty just right before the last 5 minutes of the period, and almost immediately raise your Cortex notification, but almost immediately the Panthers pull Sergei Bobrovsky, which honestly is a kind of smart move for an offense-minded team like the Panthers. Going 6-on-4 in the last 5 minutes is pretty smart. But the Bruins end up killing the penalty, and Hampus Lindholm almost does exactly what he did in the first game, and that dude is just the king of fuck it, the empty net's down there somewhere. And the first game he did it, and it went in. Second game, I don't think he got a chance to. And then third game, and then this game, the third game, he flings it and boom, it hits the post. Afterwards, the Panthers kind of just regroup. We kill off the penalty, but we're still getting smothered in our own net. And on the 6-on-5, Colin White ends up sneaking behind into Ullmark with the puck right next to him, and dragging it into the net to cut the lead to 1. And there were 2 or 3 goals though. They're oh my God, is that goaltender interference? Because they were right on top of Ullmark. But then when you look at the actual thing, you can see that the puck was in the net right before anyone touched Ullmark. Give Ullmark credit. I wish those goals could have been cut off, but I mean, it's hard to really talk about, hard to really like fault him for that, I guess. Is Anyway, after the 6-on-5, because they pulled Bobrovsky for the Colin White goal, the Panthers pulled Bobrovsky again, and to celebrate and to send his 26th birthday out with a bang, Jake DeBrusk intercepts a pass from Sasha Barkov in the neutral zone and just spins and just does a 180 on a backhand and nails the empty netter to put the game away 5-3. This is honestly one of the best birthdays I've seen for anyone. Two goals, fantastic. But honestly, I remember last season around it, like 20 games in, we were like, damn, DeBrusk hasn't done shit, and now look at him. He is doing amazing. Amazing. I love Jake DeBrusk on this team. But his and the Panthers pull Bobrovsky again, but at this time it's too late. Bruins put it away 5-3. Am I putting a lot of stock in this one? That depends. That's honestly kind of weird. I think beating a team like the Panthers absolutely is worth celebrating. They may be down two defensemen, but they still have. But that doesn't mean that their offense is any slouch. Like I said, their offense put us on the back foot a few times. And God bless them, they tried their best. But without with only 4 defensemen, you gotta wonder how much different this game would have turned out if they had their 2 other defensemen. And maybe we don't score 5 goals. Maybe they score another. Maybe they score another one. And who knows? We could be looking at we could have been looking at being here 2-0-1, but we are at 3-0-0. And I remember waiting for the Bruins to take a 3-game win streak during the first season of Into the Den, and I'm happy to say that at the end of that wish has been granted relatively early into the Den season 2. Well, a win is a win is a win, and against a former President's Trophy, and against last year's President's Trophy winner, a win is a win is a win is a win is a win. Okay, don't let anyone tell you that this win doesn't matter, because we beat a playoff contender, and we did it honestly pretty convincingly. And even if they were down two defensemen, we were down 3 defensemen, and and one of our best forwards. Okay, don't ever forget that we're still out on that we still do not have Brad Marchand, Charlie McAvoy, Matt Grizzly, and now Brandon Carlo. So we're playing kind of shorthanded. And this 3-game win streak is good. There's a small part of me that's saying, yeah, but how long is it going to last? But the better part of my brain is saying, fuck it, we ball. And that is the end of tonight's episode of Into the Den. Thank you so much for watching. Click like if you like, click subscribe if you really like. Down below is my TikTok and my twitch.tv at 100 Bex. Leave a comment just to help out with the algorithm. And have a good night, you guys.